So first and foremost,
I think the addition of pant leggings is really when you start to see your heroes get watered down.
can't even muster the ability to play straight pants for that one.
Which is a good argument for absolute rulers.
Everybody is going to get behind me. They're all going to love me, and my support numbers will go through.
When you hang out with the hero, it doesn't go well for you. My grandfather took the cob and just slid it right through the bar.
Oh, God. Okay.
And that became the dominant way our family did it.
Okay.
And so, in both of my marriages, they were treated to that.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah, rage haiku.
How do you imagine the rubber chicken point?
My grandmother actually vacuumed in her pearls. Oh my God, it all makes sense. We had the sexual revolution.
It might have just been a Canadian standoff. We're going to go back to 9/11.
Dude, get over it. Nobody understands what the Bill of Rights is supposed to be.
Agra has no business being that thick.
When the cultists win, we all lose.
This is a Geek History of Time.
Where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history teacher here in Northern California and a very, very big fan of old school science fiction, exemplified by our topic last episode and this one, Robert A. Heinlein. Who are you?
I'm Damian Harmony. I'm a Latin teacher up here in Northern California. I am not a huge fan of science fiction, or I was just never fully exposed to it. Reading wasn't a thing I did from about 5th grade till my first year of junior college. And
Okay.
yeah, I got by on being smart and knowing how to synopsize based on, ideas, and take part in a discussion in a way that you choose your entry point. So the teacher thinks, I've already talked to him. I can call on other people now.
Nice.
So yes, I smarted my way into being dumb. Is really what I did.
Well, you lazied your way.
I did.
Into
I
being
did.
dumb. It was you were smart enough. You were a different brand of the same problem I had, which was you were smart enough that you could just be like, well, I don't really actually have to do all the reading.
Oh no, I didn't. I read maybe a total of 4 books from 5th to 12th grade.
Wow.
Like all the way through.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But
for the nerd that you are now, that's really quite remarkable.
Well, when I was 19, my dad handed me that book right there by Timothy Zahn, The Heir to the Empire. And now you see that bookshelf.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And that got me back into reading nonfiction as well, which is most of, like, if you look at the bookshelf I have downstairs.
That's most of what you read.
Exactly.
Most of the time.
So yeah. It's, or any of the books behind you in those shelves. Yeah. So, and then you see the bookshelf at my school. I've got lots and lots of books that I read. Yes.
You've more than caught up.
But I never got into fiction.
Okay.
I never got into sci-fi. So I have a giant gaping blind spot, which I'm loving this podcast because I'm learning all kinds of stuff about books I never have and still may never read, but at least I'll be conversant with them. And again, I can smart way my way into staying dumb
through conversations about them in the future. Yeah.
Like, well, I think that Heinlein was more of a military apologist, more so than.
Well put.
And
well
I mean,
done.
really, if you think
well
about
done.
his approach towards citizenship in Starship Troopers, I mean, it's not nearly as well written as Earth Has Green Fields or We Walk Dogs. I know. Dumbing my way through being smart.
Yeah. That works.
But
we also walk dogs.
See, yeah, that one. I remember I read an earlier version, and it was released. Yeah, it was. Well, it was what it was. It was an anthology that was released through a series of early science fiction magazines. Now that was a thing in the 1950s.
Nice,
because they'd graduated from pulp.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I see now.
You see
how you managed to get through
all of high school.
High school.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Nicely done. I just tested real well. So, So we are expanding your genre education. This is part 1 of undoubtedly a series.
Helping Damian bullshit at a higher level.
Helping Damian bullshit his way through convention cocktail parties.
Yes. We are changing the title of this podcast to Enabling Damian for the next 100 episodes. So it'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. So, for those of you who, have actually had a week between last episode and this one, just to recap very quickly, but I spent last episode introducing Damian to the book Starship Troopers and talking about the historical context in which it was written and kind of where Heinlein lands politically on the spectrum of science fiction authors, which is to say right of center, horny libertarian, not a tanky, not an authoritarian by any stretch of the imagination.
Not a John Milius rightist.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't. Like, even after that bumper, I'm hesitant to use the word no too many times in a row. But
do you know how many hours
I can't
it took?
Find another word to use except no with a lot of vehemence behind it.
Oh,
there.
here's
John Milius is a really special fucking case.
Yeah, he is.
Like,
he really is.
Like, yeah, what I added to the script was mostly a lot of guns.
Yeah, and some tits.
And
guns and tits. See, that's if he was writing
who the
fiction
fuck
novels in the
are you?
50s, that
Oh,
would have
yeah.
been the title. Guns and Tits.
Guns and Tits. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, oh my God. So,
well, given that we're doing Heinlein, the way that
Yes.
you can negate me is instead of saying no, is to say 9.
there you go. It's
the Heinlein 9.
Yeah, there you go. So, that's the super short synopsis of what we were talking about last week. And, the underlying statement there under all of that, under my semi-apology for Heinlein, is, of course, as we've always said, authorial intent means jack shit.
Right.
Or variations on that. Authorial intent means nothing once the book actually gets out into the world, once the movie is viewed by people. What you meant to do with it,
compared to what happened with it.
compared to how people run with it, how people interpret it,
I'm curious, who do you think the most iconic example of authorial intent doesn't mean shit? Who do you think, like, of all the people throughout history, who do you think authorial intent doesn't mean shit would really just be like the most?
Yeshua ben Yosef al-Nazareth.
Okay, I was going to say Oppenheimer.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure which is more.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah.
Go to a white
Yeah.
Southern Baptist church today, and
Yeah.
I'll just say, like, and I'm painting with a very broad, sadly, very broad brush, because I know there are plenty of very good progressive people who are
Southern
Baptists.
Baptists?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
There's it's a sect with an awful lot of schisms within
Gotcha.
it, an awful lot of pastoral
Sounds very
kind of
Southern.
independence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's what it is. It's very much descended from the Scots,
Right.
Which we've also talked about in historical context before.
Yeah.
Fuck you! I'm going over here.
Yeah.
I'm not answering to you. You can't tell me shit.
You're
No,
them
I'm
valley
going
folk.
Yeah, right then. I'm leaving. You're a bunch of you're arsed. I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm gone. I didn't answer to you, you tyrants. So anyway, back to Heinlein.
Yeah.
So he wrote the book.
Yes.
In 1959.
Yes.
Height of the Cold. Well, rising tension in the Cold War.
mhm.
Height of the Cold War is 20 plus years later.
You think that's interesting?
80s. I really do think.
Okay.
I really do think that the Reagan administration, on a couple of levels, was truly, if shit had gone sideways, I really genuinely think that would have been the point where no, there won't be the day after, because the arsenals were so massive.
Okay, I could see that.
And
there was no adult in the room.
There was no adult in the room.
Because I was going to say that to me it would be 62.
Okay,
in October.
Well, yeah.
because we got the closest.
Oh yeah, well that's where the brinksmanship certainly got most intense.
Right.
That's where we got closest to buttons actually being pushed.
Right.
Historically.
Right.
But I think at that point, the scale of what would have happened
wouldn't have killed all of humanity.
Wouldn't have absolutely destroyed the entire planet.
Okay, I could see that.
By Reagan, we have a missile gap. We need more warheads.
Right.
Had been a thing. Reagan pushed it farther, but it had been a thing for 15, 20 years by that point. And so, we both sides had arsenals massive enough to just reduce the planet to a bloody cinder.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I have a certain presentist kind of issue with it because that's,
when you grew up.
Remember.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure my father and my mother would look at me and be like, you sweet summer child, you have no fucking clue.
I can guarantee you that when my dad hears this, I'm going to get a text.
Oh yeah. No.
Of Damian, we were under desks.
Yeah, no,
in third grade.
Yeah, no, my dad.
Yeah, and your mom having
same thing, my mother having
nightmares.
About the Reds. Yeah. No, okay. I know, I understand, but I totally agree that is an interpretation, but mine is the Reagan administration was the point where the water got right up to the edge of the dam in terms of the ability of both sides to destroy all life on the planet. And
also the willingness, maybe,
and the willingness. I genuinely think there were people in the Reagan administration who then went on to serve in both Bush administrations afterward.
Yeah,
who would have been like totally fine with, all right, hit it.
Yeah,
and
we had to destroy civilization to save it.
Yeah, we never wound up in a confrontational situation during those years that put us on the brink of the trigger being pulled.
Okay.
But I think had we, I think the psychological threshold for people in leadership positions was a lot lower.
I see. Okay.
For pushing that button.
Okay, so to just see if I can fuck this pig a different way. Okay. So,
lovely phrase.
Thank you.
Lovely phrase.
To see if I can figure this one out a little bit more. So while the brink was never closer than 62, the stakes for that were not as existentially a threat.
Yeah.
And the adults in the room on both sides, though they had people pulling at them, they both ultimately valued life more than winning. Yeah.
More than ideology or more than winning.
Whereas in the 80s, nobody got closer to the brink than in 62, but people valued ideology over life, and the leaders were not as I'm going to say stalwart and strong in their personal convictions. And I would say this is before Gorbachev, because I think Gorbachev is a special case.
Yeah.
So this is I forget who preceded him. But it's not Brezhnev. It was the guy after that.
After Brezhnev.
But big bushy eyebrows guy.
That was Brezhnev.
Oh, you're right.
Brezhnev
There was a guy in between the two.
Brezhnev was the one with caterpillars on his forehead.
But anyway, so they didn't get closer to the brink.
Andropov?
Could have been. They didn't get closer to the brink.
I want to say Yuri Andropov.
Okay. They didn't get closer to the brink, or they didn't get as close to the brink, but had they gotten there, it would have been a done deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And at that level, had it been a done deal, we would all be dust.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I accept that. I accept that.
So, so the novel is a product of that period of the Cold War when we're getting close to 62 and the tensions between both sides are really at their highest pitch. This is when we could still potentially have won an exchange.
Okay.
Because the Russians had just got the H-bomb a few years before this. They were still not at parity with us yet. And we were now pushing mutually assured destruction. And so there was this sense of the brink getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I think, more of an assumption at that phase of the Cold War, there was more of an assumption that if things turn into a shooting war, there's going to be a nuclear exchange followed by a land war. By the 80s, I don't know, in the popular imagination, I don't think we thought that it was going to be, well, the missiles are going to fly and then they're going to come through the Fulda Gap.
Right.
I mean, Army doctrine was written around the idea that this is what we're going to do when and if they do come through Fulda. But in the popular imagination, it was just, no, we're going to launch missiles at each other and cities are going to burn. You know, and Starship Troopers is definitely written from the point of view
of land invasions,
of there being boots on the ground, grunts fighting against this horde of faceless bug, you know, aggressors.
Right.
And so I think the book needs to be viewed in that context.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, so that's 59. Heinlein writes the book. It turns into a seminal work within the genre. As I pointed out, there's a whole subgenre of science fiction that probably would have come about, but we wouldn't have seen it the same way.
Right.
I would argue, and I mean, this isn't something I'm willing to, like, you know, kill somebody on a hill over, but I think it's something that we could argue about, that the shape of military science fiction would not be what it is without Starship Troopers.
Okay.
That everything, in the same way that Adam West's Batman is the Batman that all of the others are in some way.
Yeah.
Everything after that is a reaction to it.
Right.
The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. Halo is the other example I used.
Right.
You know, all of these military science fiction stories that we have are, one way or another, a response to Starship Troopers. Hammer Slammers was the other one that I thought of. Hammer Slammers was specifically a Vietnam vet.
Okay. Using
science fiction to write about his experiences.
Okay.
In the jungle. And like the whole oeuvre, the whole language that he uses, the tropes that wind up that are in all of that, we see in Starship Troopers in their nascent form.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's this hugely important work.
Yeah.
It's this hugely popular work because on top of everything else that it is, it's a pretty good adventure story. It's a fun action adventure, you know, coming of age story, you know, rah, fight the monsters, win the glory, save the world, you know, save humanity.
It's accessible.
You know, it's very accessible. And it's on the recommended reading list for the Marine Corps, which is unsurprising.
No kidding. Okay.
And I think multiple military academies.
Sure. Okay. Now, and this is, again, I point to the Annapolis connection.
Yeah.
Because you've got him, you've got William Appleman Williams. Yes. Both are just, I mean, at least in their early years at the academy, I believe they were first-class seamen. And when you have first-class seamen, you can have seminal work.
Nice.
Thank you.
16, you're slipping. I didn't even spend multiple minutes talking about my job, and you're.
That's on me.
Yeah, all right.
That is on me.
Yeah. So,
and he did do his writing of it at Florida State University. So that also makes sense. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. I'm moving on. So,
you know, the bathrooms there, if you want to make some extra money, there's places where you can earn glory. And the first person to start that is a seminal semen hall.
Yeah, we're moving on. No, just no. So, 30 years, 28 years go by. And in 1997, the movie of Starship Troopers comes out in theaters. And it didn't do very well. It was panned by critics.
Yep.
It was, I won't go so far as to say it was a flop, but it was not exactly a runaway success. It was not the blockbuster that everybody was hoping it was going to be.
Right.
And there are a few reasons for this. The really hardcore Heinlein nerds who heard they're finally making a Starship Troopers movie, holy shit, yes, went and saw stills from production and immediately shat all over it Because
Fucking
number
sci-fi
one,
fans,
number
man.
one,
Jesus
sci-fi
Christ.
fans. Number one,
Oh my
sci-fi
God.
fans. Number two, one of the central things in the novel is that Johnny Rico is a member of the mobile infantry.
Yeah.
And what makes a mobile infantryman special is he's not just a grunt in body armor with a rifle. He's in a suit of powered armor.
Oh, yeah, that's not what happened there.
That's not at all what happened in the movie.
Okay.
Everybody was hoping we were going to get to see...
Man tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we were going to get to see a mobile suit. That we were going to get to see, no, seriously, mobile infantry. And they did some test stuff with it early on and found that the technology just didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
To make it not shitty.
Yeah, because, I mean, you had Robot Jocks in 91.
Oh, boy, you talk about a crap movie.
Yeah, and then
you talk about height of the Cold War, by the way. Oh, my God, what a steaming pile of Cold War garbage that was.
And then you also have the third Matrix movie in 2003?
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I think it might have been 2004. But anyway, right around then.
Yeah.
And they actually did have mobiles by that point, and it looked good.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
So talk about a weird gap.
Yeah, it took a while for effects to get there. And so without the suit that made each individual mobile infantryman a superhero, the whole tone of the movie changed very dramatically, and that's part of what I think. That's part of the reason when you say Starship Troopers now, everybody says, "Oh yeah, no, Heinlein's fascist." Right. So I've already talked about Heinlein. Now we're going to talk about the movie, and it came out in 97.
Yes.
And there's an awful lot of history between 59 and 97.
That's true.
First and foremost, by 97, the Cold War
was over.
Has been over for half a decade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are no longer worried, we in the United States and in, portions of Western Europe, we are no longer worried about the Soviet monolith.
Oh, there's discussion of, do we invite the Soviet Union, or do we invite the former Soviet Union into NATO, or do we just get rid of NATO? There was that discussion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the entire world stage, the whole context for anybody who picked the book up after 1992, the entire context of the work is completely different.
Yes.
The entire context of the movie, thus, is completely different because we create things, as you have said repeatedly. Everything you write is a reflection of the time in the world in which you're writing.
Yes.
And so this is between the first Iraq War and 9/11. Okay, the first Iraq War.
Now, at a time that people didn't know it was between those things.
Well, yes. But for us looking back with the advantage of some presentism, we can place it in time in this period. And the thing is, if the movie had been made pre-Iraq War or pre-Gulf War, Kuwait War.
Right.
Because nowadays we say Iraq War and
we think of the unending one.
We think of, but if it had been made before 91 or if it had been made after 9/11, would have been a completely different film. Would have been the allegory, all of the metaphors, everything would have been completely different. And so we have to look at the context of that era, and this movie is a reaction to Vietnam, Reagan, and the first Gulf War. Okay. This is my statement on this. This is my thesis. And I'm going to talk about Vietnam first. Because chronologically, Vietnam was a watershed loss for the U.S. military.
Yeah.
It was an institutionally damaging conflict over the course of the time that the U.S. was involved in combat operations in Vietnam. the military as an institution, over and above the level of the number of soldiers who were killed or wounded or taken prisoner, or over and above the amount of money and materiel that was lost. The institution of the U.S. Defense Department and the individual armed services were themselves damaged by that conflict.
And when you say damaged, I would just point out, I don't disagree, and at the same time, budgets thereafter were ever on the increase.
Oh, yeah.
The military as the solution was ever on the increase.
Yeah.
I wish that I could get that kind of damage.
Yeah, I wish education could get damaged that way.
Shit. I wish my personal finances could take that kind of a hit.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know?
Yeah.
Like sign me up. Where's my Vietnam?
Oh,
you know? Which is awful. But
but
like in terms of that,
your point is meaningful.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, you're not wrong about it. It did damage everything. It shook our faith in it. And maybe that's it. It shook our connection as a society to our military. Yeah. And the military has now become its own thing.
Its own separate subculture, sub-thing.
Which absolutely ties into Verhoeven's critique.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So, jungle combat against an insurgent army was a paradigmatic shift.
Yes.
That none of the uniformed services were ready for.
No.
And it left the whole structure of the military demoralized and conflicted. There is a whole, we don't teach about this. It's not part of the standard curriculum in high school when we teach Vietnam. It's not part of the textbooks. It's not included in the textbooks, but there was a GI anti-war movement. And not only that, but the unrelenting pace of combat operations and the social issues that were underlying all of that in our own society at the time came up in ways that wound up severely damaging morale and caused a huge amount of damage to the what's the word? Prestige is the word that comes to mind, but it's wrong. But the legitimacy of military leadership.
Yes.
Within the military. Yeah. The rank and file soldiers lost. It's not just the public that lost faith in the military.
Right.
Rank and file soldiers lost faith in their leadership.
Yes.
And a big part of the trouble that they ran into was the draft. It was young men getting pulled into the military to fight in a war that was amongst their demographic that was unwinnable. The way it was trying to be pursued, it was not a winnable conflict. It was on the other side of the planet against a bunch of people that, like, what did they do to me?
Right.
Well, communism, son. Why do I care?
Right.
Right. And then on top of that, well, I mean, yeah, that's basically it. I had a thought and it got lonely and left.
Well, yeah, to back up what you're saying, the amount of fraggings that happened in Vietnam was in the thousands.
Yeah. Yes. And notable cases of the GI anti-war movement are the Fort Hood 3 in 1966. Three soldiers who just said, I'm not going to Indochina.
Right.
No, I'm refusing it. Yes, it's a lawful order. I'm refusing it anyway. I don't care. The Presidio Mutiny in 1968, which was a similar kind of situation. And I'm going to mention this here, even though it's a little bit different. There was the Kitty Hawk riot in October of 1972.
That one I don't know.
Yeah, you don't. You should.
Okay.
We all should. My father has very vivid memories of this one because I don't remember whether he was on the Kitty Hawk at the time or if he was in the fleet on another carrier with the Kitty Hawk at the time.
So this is on a ship?
Yes. This is not Kitty Hawk, Carolina. This is the aircraft carrier USS Kitty Hawk.
Okay.
Which my father did serve on.
Mm-hmm.
He did more than one cruise on the Kitty Hawk. But I don't remember whether he was there in 72. But he does remember being proximate. If he wasn't on the ship,
right.
He was nearby.
Mm-hmm.
He has very vivid memories of it. And now the deal is, this was a race riot. The U.S. Navy, up until the 1970s, had a very, very, very small percentage of black sailors.
Yes.
The leadership of the Navy was culturally very Southern, very white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, and the racial dynamics of the Navy were largely mostly white officers, or white, almost universally white officers, mostly nearly all white sailors,
right,
with support crew who were primarily Filipino,
right,
because of Subic Bay and the Navy just being the service that most of them gravitated toward.
Sure.
And then in the 60s, during the Vietnam War, they basically they drafted more black young men into the Navy, and Navy was, compared to the Army, considered a relatively safe berth, or a relatively safe place to go. If you got drafted, I want the Navy, because I'm not going to be in the jungle getting shot at. But black sailors wound up being put in the most grueling, ugliest, most dangerous jobs on the ship. The majority of black sailors aboard the Kitty Hawk were on the deck crew. Okay. Which, on an aircraft carrier, is the loudest, most dangerous place to be, because there are jet aircraft spooling up, needing to be armed. You got to put ordnance on them, right, to get them to go fly out to drop bombs on people, right. So that's a really dangerous set of jobs. Sure. And so there were racial tensions already because of the Navy's, up to that point, abysmal kind of racial dynamics. Yeah. And anyway, there was a race riot aboard the Kitty Hawk, which led to a huge effort within the Navy to try to fix those problems. Good. And your opinion of those efforts will, of course, be colored by your own upbringing, your own experiences prior to that, and what have you. My dad thought a lot of it was touchy-feely bullshit. But then my father also grew up in South Florida in the 40s and into the 50s. So, product of your environment. Right. And, my dad has just not ever been a very touchy-feely person. And they did a very 70s kind of, right. We're going to have an encounter session, and the story my dad tells about this is, they'd call a sailor in, and they'd have officers, they'd have a group of officers in the room, and the officers were supposed to put their names down on the name tag. And this is so much my dad. The other guys wrote, Joe or Bob or whatever. My dad wrote down Lieutenant Blaylock. And the counselor, psychologist, whatever you want, psychiatrist, whoever it was, who was run civilian contractor, who was running the session, said to him, "No, your name." And my dad's response, and this informs, I will admit, this informs my own way of occasionally talking to my students. My dad's response was, "That is my name. Right. I am Lieutenant Blaylock. I worked to earn that title. Right. And this is the military." Right. Right. My own thing, kids ask me, "Well, what's your name?" Mr. Blaylock. "I also accept sir." "Well, no, but what's your real name?" "That is my real name. Mr." Yeah. It's a different context, of course, but I am my father's kid. So, but, so these are the kinds of issues that were going on throughout the military. Sure. There are stories of, in Vietnam, on the ground in Vietnam, of racial tensions in rear echelon positions. Interestingly, on the front lines, you don't see this stuff, but then back at, battalion headquarters, guys would run up Confederate flags.
Yeah.
And all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And so,
it can lose over there too.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so all of this led to a huge overhaul after Vietnam. The entire structure of recruitment and service in the military was completely restructured. Leadership of the Army actually went to the White House and went to Congress and said, we got to get rid of the fucking draft. Because the guys we're getting don't want to be there. And our morale problem could not be worse.
Right.
Conscription is not working.
Right.
We need to move to an all-volunteer force. And so in 73, that happened. The draft got scrapped.
Right.
And the military shifted to an all-volunteer force.
I think it's interesting that when you start, because the draft had two phases during the Vietnam War too. There was the draft, and then there was the lottery.
Yeah.
And the lottery was, okay, now that rich parents are losing their kids, we got to stop this, right? So you got that aspect to it. But also, I do think it's interesting that the military goes to the White House and says, we have to stop the draft because the people we're getting are no longer wanting to be a part of this. At no time prior to that would the military have justifiably been able to say so, because at no time prior to that did you have such a disconnect from the population and the idea of their responsibility to the government in exchange for the government's responsibility to them. And what I really find interesting there is you actually have a more responsive government at this point. You have a welfare state on some levels at this point, and you have a greater diversity of the electorate at this point. At this point, you also have 18-year-olds getting to vote.
Yeah.
Like, you have more rights, a more responsive government, and at the exact same time, you found some way to fuck it up where instead of involving everybody now, here's the thing. This proves Heinlein's idea wrong, that if you give people more of a stake in what's going on, if you have spent all that time, shitting where you eat, they're not going to want to serve.
No, of course. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And the legitimacy issue of we're going to go to Vietnam. Why? Well, because communism. No, I need something better than that. Well, why do you need something better than that? Well, I went to college, see? Well, I don't care if you went to college. We're going because communism. Fuck, your parents did this. Well, my parents didn't go to college. They actually did this so they could go to college.
And my dad's older brother went to Europe to fight Nazis,
right?
Because Nazis were literally killing people for not being Aryan,
right? And
they were trying to take over the fucking world,
right?
So
there's a different reason there.
Explain to me,
how are the Viet Cong doing that? Please tell me.
Yeah.
You just get in there and do it. Well, okay, I'm going to get in there.
London?
But, right.
What? I don't understand here. They just want to farm on their own land and not.
Hey, here's a note from the North Vietnamese Army. It turns out it's the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on there.
Didn't our CIA actually back this guy?
Right. No, that was the OSS. Our CIA is against it.
Yeah, CIA is a different animal.
Yeah.
It's literally led by the same people.
It's different spelling. That's why it's spelled different. Sorry. No. Yeah.
You're bullshitting. Yeah. So, yeah. And so the prestige of the military, public trust in the military,
the willingness to put down what you're doing and then go serve.
Yeah.
Is gone.
Is not there.
Yeah, because
it's not there. Because there's no you can say, okay, the Soviets were scared of the Russians. we're still scared of the Russians. The Russians, by the 70s, when we have this shift to an all-volunteer force, the level of perceived immediate threat isn't there.
Right.
For most 18-year-olds. In the 50s, when 18-year-olds in between 51 and 54, when they were being sent off to Korea, okay, no. The Russians have gotten the H-bomb. We got it. There was a sense of immediacy.
There was and there wasn't. Like it. That I think was the first chipping away at it.
Oh yeah, no.
This doesn't make sense, but I still trust.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. Like you spent it wrong.
Yeah.
You spent it wrong.
You used that capital in the wrong way. Yeah. So the public's connection to the military, public's trust in the military, dipped below 50%.
Yeah.
And then very gradually, it climbed back out of that hole as time went on.
People do love a war.
Yeah. Well, it climbed dramatically under Reagan because Reagan got elected in large part as a response to our psychological, malaise.
Yeah.
And telling us how great we were and, support our vets.
Yeah.
Rah, rah. That's where we first start hearing that.
True. It's which is funny because he's the one who closed down a lot of the care facilities in California.
Well, because you don't want to have socialism.
No.
Come on. We don't want to wind up becoming like the Soviets.
Yeah.
But support our, So.
And didn't he invade Grenada?
He did.
Which basically fixed Vietnam for us. So good stuff.
Yeah. At the time, because let's see, Grenada was 83.
Yeah.
I was 8. I was living in Hawaii. And, or no, actually it was before, it was right as we moved. We had just arrived. And I remember watching this whole thing about, invading Grenada and nobody was ever able to explain to me,
right, as
an 8-year-old,
right,
convincingly, like, why is this a big deal? Like, I wasn't old enough or sophisticated enough to understand the political ramifications. None of that. Like, nobody could explain to me, like, why are we so excited about this?
Right. It's because we can win Vietnam now.
This is an island in the Caribbean. Yeah. Well, yeah. Nobody was able to explain the context. Well, son, see, we had this conflict that we lost, and it was hugely damaging to our psyche. So now this invasion of a Caribbean island to rescue some medical students because there's been a coup.
Right.
And the Cubans are involved, which means the Soviets have to be involved. I mean, this whole thing didn't register for me. Now I am Facebook friends with a Marine veteran who was actually involved in Grenada. So he has very vivid personal memories of that whole operation. And, but the geopolitical importance of it is not something that still to this day, and I don't, and I think, pardon me, I think there was an outpouring of, yay, we won. And I don't think I don't remember, I'll put it that way. I don't remember there being any overt recognition of mention of Vietnam in it, but there wasn't. We had this military operation and we won. And there was a Henry V at Agincourt effect. And all of a sudden, hail the conquering heroes and all this. Because it was a short, victorious war, which is what every leader in every state wants if he can get one, or she can get one. And so...
Are you mentioning Margaret Thatcher again?
I don't know what you're talking about. Falklands! And so the respect that Americans had and the trust Americans had in the institution of the military rose dramatically under Reagan, dipped a little bit, and then spiked again dramatically right around 91, 92
Mm-hmm.
because of the Gulf War.
Right.
Okay. And so this rising reactionary pro-military outlook, because it was like, well, we got anti-military and now we're going to be more pro-military.
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby.
Rambo had a second movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about like being shitty to veterans.
Yeah. No.
Now it's actually about
Now it's
fixing Vietnam.
American hegemony on the world
Yep.
stage. Yeah. And so
He had a third movie where he helped the Taliban.
yeah,
Freedom
right.
fighters.
Freedom fighters, Taliban. Yep. Yeah. Who there's no way that could ever come back to bite us in the ass.
Never.
And so Paul Verhoeven in 1996 gets a script for Starship Troopers from Ed Neumeyer, who was a writer he'd worked with, who had worked with him on RoboCop. He'd been one of the writers for that.
That is a good one.
Yeah. And so Verhoeven's whole outlook, you got to remember Verhoeven was born in 48.
Okay.
Verhoeven is Dutch.
Oh.
Dutch and born in 48.
Yeah. Ooh.
So his entire outlook
Yeah.
on the institution of the military is going to be very different from an American
Yes.
context,
Yes.
just to begin with.
Yes.
Because he grew up in the real, no kidding, aftermath of World War II.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he saw what militarism and rah-rah, go us, nationalism run rampant. He is of the generation that grew up in the ruins and the rebuilding after that kind of fallout. I'm sorry, he was born in 38.
38. Okay.
So he was old enough to remember the war.
Right.
I'm off by a decade
Right.
again, just like it was with Berlin Airlift last episode. No, he was born in 38. If he was 48, he'd be younger than my folks.
Yeah.
But he was born in 38, so he witnessed the war, which just
Yeah.
even more goes to my point.
Yes. And then he was coming of age of reason at a time where Europe was going to be the thing over which America and Russia fought.
And watching
And
our
would kill them
involvement-
all.
Yeah, and watching our involvement in Korea and then in Vietnam
Right.
from that lens as...
But also seeing the Dutch Empire completely disintegrate.
Seeing all of their holdings gain their independence and everything, so his outlook on empire, his outlook on militarism, his outlook on all these things would be dramatically different, which also means his opinion of Heinlein's novel, well,
It's going to read different.
yeah, well, here's his own statement. I stopped after 2 chapters because it was so boring. It is really quite a bad book. I asked Ed Neumeyer to tell me the story because I just couldn't read the thing. It's a very right-wing book. Now, we've talked about the fact that our Overton window in this country is fucked compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And it's not just Europe, it's everywhere. We are by default a more right-wing leaning culture. What to us is, well, that socialism is slightly right of center.
Yes. Yes.
In Germany and other places in Europe.
Yeah.
Like, until you actually start talking about, no, we need to nationalize industry. We need to centrally control everything in the economy. Until you start talking that way, you're not a leftist in any other part of the world. To them, our Democratic Party is, well, there are moderate right-wingers.
Yeah.
So our right-wingers are Nazis.
Yes.
Are just shy of,
Absolutely.
and nowadays, of course, our real right-wingers are often actually Nazis.
Yes, they are.
And so his outlook on this book that was written by a U.S. military veteran during the Cold War as an allegory for us versus the Soviet monolith, there's a completely different kind of paradigm behind his view of it. And so in that same interview, this is him talking about the movie in 2005 in an interview with Empire Magazine. He went on in the same interview to say, and with the movie, we tried, and I think at least partially succeeded, in commenting on that at the same time. It would be eat your cake and have it. All the way through, we were fighting with the fascism, the ultramilitarism. All the way through, I wanted the audience to be asking, are these people crazy?
That's interesting.
So now, here's the deal. The novel was not a satire.
Right.
The movie...
100% was.
From the first moment he looked at the script. And now here's the deal. I don't think Neumeier, because Neumeier has now written multiple sequels to the original Starship Troopers.
All of which I've watched.
Okay. and none of them were theatrically released.
No.
But he's released these multiple films. He himself is on the record as being a huge fan of the novel. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say when he wrote the script, he didn't write it initially as a satire. Then Verhoeven took a look at it and went,
oh, this is clearly satire.
This is fucking nut bar.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we're going to do it, let's lean in.
Yep.
And now we have a movie where it is a reaction to somebody who is not an American viewing our own seesawing relationship to our own military. After not only the nadir of post-Vietnam, but then Grenada, we won.
Right.
We're back.
Right.
Followed by the first Gulf War.
Right.
Which was, again, a short victorious war. I clearly saw in the first Gulf War more of the, this is making up in our national psyche for Vietnam.
Yes.
And there was overt reference to the experience of Vietnam veterans when we as a nation, when we as the overarching dominant culture of our nation was talking about, how we're going to treat soldiers when they come back from this.
Right.
Even the anti-war folks for the first Gulf War were being really careful.
Yeah.
To frame everything in a way of like, no, we are pro soldier, we are pro troops, we are for the troops. We want to bring them all home. We don't want them over in the desert.
Right.
And the anger did not get pointed at the army.
Right.
The way it had during like the institution of the military. It was like, well, I'm pro the soldiers, so I'm just actually not even going to get anywhere near. Like Norman Schwarzkopf did not get satirized by anti-war people.
No, he didn't.
Because he's a general, so he's not a grunt, but he's a soldier, so we're not going to pick on him.
Right.
We're gonna be angry at the Bush administration. We're gonna be angry at Rumsfeld, Cheney, all these other guys. Then went on in the second Bush administration
in
to
the same country
again. Yeah. Because unfinished business. One of them left his phylactery there, and they had to recapture. I don't know. Cheney's a lich. Come on, like, seriously. So in any event, I'm getting off the subject, but the conversation in our country was framed, in that kind of context. Where we're not going to say anything bad about the Army. We're not going to say anything bad about the Air Force, the Navy. Those institutions we can't mess with. Well,
and a lot of that had to do with the propagandism that Bush had learned from Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like, he started off by saying this will not be another Vietnam.
Yes.
So there's that. But also, they recognized the role that the press had in exposing everything.
Yes.
And they drastically, co-opted and restricted. You are not going to show the remains. You're not going to show the coffins. Although, I'm not sure if that came in the first or the second Gulf War.
Second Gulf War.
That was the second, okay. Yeah. But we're going to give you a lot of access over here, long as you don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
So don't go asking those weird questions. Whereas in Vietnam, it was the Wild West as far as reporters went. They could go wherever they wanted.
Because the Army,
Mm-hmm.
the Pentagon, did not at that point have a plan for dealing with them.
Right. And that's one of the things that they learned right quick.
Right fast. Yeah.
And implemented.
And television was a new medium
Mm-hmm.
in the mass media in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so, they were used to, we got the print guys. And
you also had the Fairness Doctrine.
Yeah.
That was in place there. And you also had only 3 channels, and you had the fact that each channel had to provide news.
Yes.
Whereas in the Persian Gulf War, well, I don't want to call it that because that's between Iraq and Iran, and we just kept giving weapons to both. But the first U.S. invasion of Iraq, that you had a cable news network.
Yeah.
A 24-hour cable news network.
Yeah, you had a 24-hour news cycle.
Yes.
You got to feed the beast.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so that's a very, very different landscape, and you don't have the Fairness Doctrine anymore.
Well, it's a completely different paradigm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Verhoeven
Mm-hmm.
is responding
Mhm.
in his movie in 1997 to all of that, and he's taking our national response to those things
Mm-hmm.
and then ramping it up to 11 because he was born in 1938 in he's Dutch and
Yeah.
born in Holland in 1938, and do you see?
Right. Yeah.
Like
We're the lowlands.
Like-
this is where shit happened.
this is come on.
Yes.
Lenny Riefenstahl, anybody?
Yeah.
Hey, and so the movie
Starts with Johnny Rico. It starts out and then it rewinds, but
Yeah.
it starts with that, and he's left on the battlefield screaming into the camera, which has been turned sideways.
Yeah.
And you see the cameraman being one of the first things attacked by the bug.
Yeah.
It is straight up, I remember that very vividly because it's wow, they're really, putting the military and the camera guy right in there.
Yeah.
And, he gets, and the guy gets squeezed until he bursts apart. And
Yeah.
You're just oh, this is a different level of things.
Holy
Okay.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the violence is it's the old ultra violence.
Yes.
It's a Verhoeven movie.
Yes.
That's one of his trademarks.
Yeah.
Sex and violence cranked up to 11,
Mm-hmm.
even when he's not doing satire.
Yeah.
And so, his initial response to
Mhm.
the novel
Mm-hmm.
informs the way he made the movie,
Yes.
informs every choice he made about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the resulting film
Mm-hmm.
is a fascist satire. It
Yeah.
is a straight up send up of this is what you all look like, ladies and gentlemen, to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like Funhouse Mirror time. Hi, here you are.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it is on one level absolutely unavoidably patently obvious
Mm-hmm.
that it's satire. Would you like to know more? The cartoony moments where, and we're gonna pause the actual plot of the movie to show you the propaganda newsreels.
Right. To work as exposition.
Mm-hmm. Where we're going to have kindergartners being handed bullets.
Yes.
And stomping on bugs. Do
Yes.
your part.
Yeah.
No. We're inculcating this in the littlest children.
Y'all are the Nazis.
Y'all are the kids. You're the toddler.
Yeah.
You sitting there in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
You're the toddler.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Like Big Red Clown
Oh,
knows,
yeah. And they show that and we're exploring and we're learning more. And it's you take the giant chainsaw and shove it up the thing's ass,
Yeah, aim for the nerve cluster.
Yeah.
I'm
86% more efficient.
Yeah.
You know?
in a combat situation.
Yeah.
Like the people who would make that film would know this is useless advice.
Mm-hmm.
Because how big is that target?
Yeah.
In a combat situation, like that was the first thing I thought watching the film in that moment where Doogie Howser with the ever growing bags under his eyes because, you know, psychic powers are evil, is talking about this. I looked at that as, you know, having at one point been an ROTC cadet, I looked at that and went, that's ludicrous. like the technical, like not just the satire is over the top and crazy. The technical aspect of that is stupid. Like any infantryman, anybody who's ever handled a weapon in a drill,
right,
is going to be able to tell you, oh, right, yeah, great. In the middle of a fight, while I'm scared out of my mind and, you know, running for my life, either toward the enemy or away,
right,
you know,
right.
battlefield, I'm just going to aim for a target the size of a basketball at 30, if I'm really close, 30 meters away. Right. Yeah, totally. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hold the trigger down on my rifle and pray is what I'm going to fucking do.
Sure.
So, you know, and just like so cartoonishly over the top with all of that stuff. And so if your exposure to Starship Troopers is through the movie, well then, yeah, it's a fascist fucking book because it's based on the book, right? Yes. But also no.
Right.
And that's kind of and that's where we get to kind of my whole point here.
Sure.
And it's not that I'm trying to necessarily defend Heinlein's point, but I think it's an important.
It's a nuance that you need to strike.
It's a nuance that if you're going to approach the novel as a separate thing, you kind of need to understand that. And I think Heinlein was a product of his time. He had problematic ideas, but I think he does not deserve to be painted as a fascist.
Sure.
When he wasn't one. That wasn't what the book was supposed to be. You know, it's an easy jump from, well, this is a steaming pile of fascist crap to,
right.
Well, obviously he's a fucking Nazi.
Right.
Well, okay. In this case, no.
Right.
You know, Robert E. Howard had all kinds of ideas about toxic masculinity. He was a racist. He was all this, but like we got to contextualize. We shouldn't be entirely wrapped up in our presentism. And again, I'm not saying this to like defend his ideas, but I think our judgment of any of these writers needs to take those things into account.
Sure.
And Verhoeven clearly was making a very, very potent, very, very caustic point.
Vibrant point.
Yes. And here's the deal. Looking back on the film, it really is a masterwork of satire. It is no, I'm going to take Leni Riefenstahl and I'm going to mock the fuck out of her.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm going to, all these shots that were so incredibly iconic back when she made Triumph of the Will. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to point out, how ridiculous is this?
Right.
Like, do you understand the artifice involved in all of this?
Right.
Like, none of this is real. All of that is brilliant. And coming from his background, coming from his outlook on the book and his everything, all of it makes perfect sense.
Sure.
The thing is, Americans as consumers of media do not do a good job recognizing irony or satire.
True.
And that movie came out, and there were basically three distinct camps. I've mentioned the first camp, hardcore Heinlein fans. You don't actually have mobile infantry in it. Fuck you.
Right.
It's garbage. It's not the book. Fuck you. Okay, we're gonna set them aside completely because that's a whole other artistic conversation to have. The general public, in my experience, having remembered how people responded to the film, largely fell into two categories. There were people who really loved it, totally unironically, rah-rah,
right,
ooh-yah, rah, because it was just after the first Gulf War, you know, ooh-rah, and then people who were like, well, I didn't like it. I felt like it was making fun of people, and I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know exactly what was going on, but it made me uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Like, those were the two major camps, and then there was the third group, which was mostly film nerds and perceptive, you know, have done a lot of reading, you know, pointy-headed people,
right,
who went, well, it's a satire. And it's a remarkably well done satire, and it's not supposed to make you comfortable. That's the point,
right? And
it did it real well. But that's a very small group. In my experience as a viewer at the time, that was a very, very, very small group of people. Most everybody either were, you know, Marines watching the movie straight off base, you know, because it was the weekend and hoorah, you know, through the whole thing, like, you know, blood and guts, loved it, or, you know, it made me feel kind of icky and I don't know why. And I don't like it. And that's why it didn't wind up turning into a blockbuster, because satire doesn't work that
bust
way.
blocks. Yeah.
You know, RoboCop, another Verhoeven film.
Right.
Kind of the same thing.
Yep.
Like, there were people who were like, yeah, robot police officer, superhero, blood and guts,
badassery,
gore, violence, badassery.
Yeah. My literal father.
Mine too.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, well, it's dark and gross and hyper violent, and I don't like it.
I don't want
so
kids watching
dark.
this.
I don't want, you know, well, it's an R-rated film. Kids aren't supposed to be watching it. I did. It's the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
Oh wow.
And I had some meaningful questions about, well, okay, this scientist is supposed to kind of be a good guy because he's, you know, building RoboCop. So why are we seeing him doing drugs with these women of ill repute? Like, what's going on with that? And, you know, had the conversation, my parents, to their credit, had the conversation about, well, he's not really a good guy. Like, he's doing this thing that is good, but he's not necessarily a good person, or he's got this flaw, you know, and we had that conversation, to their credit. You know, but you know, not really, I was not the target audience. Right. And the people who were the target audience, for many of them, it went over their heads. Like, I'm pretty sure my dad spotted, oh yeah, this is totally satire, but like, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. It's, you know, and the you know, well, you know, Verhoeven's a lefty, whatever, you know, kind of take on it. Like, the satire didn't go over his head. He just was like, well, yeah, it's satire, but it's also a rockin' fun movie. I don't know with Starship Troopers how many of the rah-rah crowd recognized that it was a satire.
Yeah, well, like,
and maybe that's my own pointy-headed nerd prejudice coming out, but like, that wasn't the vibe I got off of the people that I was talking to at the time who were like totally enamored of the film. I leaned in the direction of, well, yeah, I mean, it was a great action flick and all, it was fun to watch, but it didn't have actual mobile infantry, so like, it wasn't really Starship Troopers. Sure, was, you know, kind of my take on it at the time.
Yeah, I found it an incredibly entertaining movie. And I remember specifically talking to a friend of mine about how entertaining it was. She's like, wow, it was all about, like, glorifying fascism. And I was like, how? I mean, yes, you had the stupid uniform that Doogie Howser wore, but beyond that, and she's like, and then she just started listing things. I'm like, I'm going to go see it again. Then I went and saw it again. And remember, it was 97, so I just started reading again.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, you know, oh, okay, I'm starting to see this. And then I liked it all the more. because it's one of the first movies that I truly pulled a ton of symbolism from. For instance, every adult who advises Johnny Rico is crippled. They are scarred and or crippled. Every single teacher that he had, the only person who isn't,
that we saw,
in the movie,
yeah.
Rue McClanahan was in it. By the way, she's the biology teacher. I just love that she's teaching them about the facts of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's blind. You have the guy who, welcome. It made me the man I am today. He's missing legs.
Yeah.
I mean, that one was really obvious. I got that on the first time.
Yeah.
The fact that the Michael Ironside's character is missing an arm.
Yep.
The only adult that isn't scarred who talks to Rico is his dad, and he's wrong, and he's whole. And so there's that aspect of it. There's the fierce egalitarianism of it all. Everybody showers together, everybody talks together, and stuff like that.
Everybody fights, nobody quits.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. But also you have that he is the rich boy, the boy of privilege, whereas Dizzy is not. You had that aspect to it as well. And then you had the fact that Carl, his psychic friend, never used his powers for good. Ever. He sent the ferret to go attack his mom. He used his computer skills to make fun of Johnny Rico's computer scores. And bring it up so that everybody could see it. He moves in on Dizzy when she's been rejected, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So like,
oh wow, yeah. That's there's some potent anti-intellectualism going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then there's the would you like to know more stuff, and of course, the internet's very nascent at that time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the big fucking eagle that comes out, the fact that the person, they basically came up with island hopping as a theory instead of like full frontal assault. And he steps down, and just a criminal was caught today, sentencing tonight, and very much that kind of stuff. But I loved the symbolism of it, like the fact that they're all wearing gray, very Nazi.
Yeah.
They had the basically the neo-Nazi use of suspenders.
Yeah.
You had the different people who would help, and yet Rico, because he keeps embodying the ideals that he's not sure he wants yet, he keeps getting promoted. Onward and onward and onward. By the way, that scene where you talked about last time where they're fighting with the Merchant Marines, that's done in the ship where he's, they're fighting with the Navy. And by the way, his former girlfriend / former girlfriend, she's getting through and accelerating in all of her abilities and stuff like that. But she absolutely wanted that kind of a thing. Whereas he didn't know what he wanted, and so he became a ground pounder. So and then everybody cheering with "It's Afraid."
Yeah. I got that one on the first viewing.
The corporal.
It's afraid.
Yeah.
I looked at it. And here's the thing. What's remarkable is there's cross pollination or convergent evolution there, because putting his hand on the brain bug, it is afraid, and everybody cheering, is such a Warhammer 40K moment too.
Oh yeah, which is also satire.
Is such a loathe the Xeno, hate the Xeno, kill the Xeno.
Right.
Absolutely. I find that travel closes the mind admirably.
Yeah.
Kind of,
sure.
Take on that.
But also the Mormons.
Well, that's actually out of the book. The Mormon colony being attacked is actually is a beat out of the book.
Okay, but the fact that the bugs are sucking people's brains away, the fact that that's how they're going to learn about you is by literally digesting your brain, and just like so many aspects of it is such a fun movie, but at the same time, so many aspects of it are so clearly, like you said, the Riefenstahl shots.
Oh yeah.
It's so very clearly a satire. And the symbolism of it is very, very rich. It kind of reminds me of when I had a girlfriend who loved horror films.
Okay.
And that got me started on, analyzing a couple of horror films for our podcast. Because I don't really care about horror films, but it's a genre.
Yeah.
And genre is rich with symbolism. So this was another one. And also the glorification of nuclear weapons.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that tactical nukes are no big deal.
Yeah.
And also, bad intelligence.
Yeah.
By the military and stuff like that. And again, that captain also ends up being a scarred and wounded person.
Yeah.
And once Rico and Carmen are both scarred, then they can be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've earned their stripes, literally because there's stripes on their body.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it just, I really, really like it still as a movie. I don't remember the second one. I do remember the third or the fourth one. I remember the last one that I watched. And it was so very clearly a Christian apology movie, because it was all about faith. The whole thing was all about faith. It was very ham-fisted and about faith. And I was like, okay, cool. So I don't necessarily recommend you watch any of the others. They're not worth it. It's kind of like the other Highlander movies.
Yeah. Wait, stop.
Yeah, there are other Highlander movies.
No, there aren't.
Yeah.
No.
Mario Van Peebles got paid to do one.
No.
So.
No.
But.
Nope. Didn't happen.
So, but I think that
friend of the show, Bishop O'Connell, and I have made a pact that we will never acknowledge that there were ever any other Highlander films made, because there weren't.
Okay. Not even the one with Adrian Paul, where they passed the sword to him?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
TV series.
Okay, yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, then you had the movie that bridged the gap between that. No. Okay.
Gap. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. But so yeah, I really liked it. Right on down to just the fact that they had artillery bugs, and then they had fire bugs.
Yeah.
And Rico, again, he had to lose people in order to grow up and stuff like that. I thought it was a fantastic film. And I think it was very much, like you said, Verhoeven looking at it and going, well, this is clearly fascism, and I need to pan it.
Yeah.
And given what you told me about his past, that makes absolute sense that he would react that way.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
Cool. I'm
that's
convinced.
That's that particular comparison.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Okay.
So what takeaways, now that we're at this point in the conversation, what takeaways have you got? What do you think?
I do want to maybe this is the takeaway. The opening classroom scene.
Okay.
If you listen to the lecture that Michael Ironsides is giving,
yes,
it is absolutely like the pointer scene to the ideology of the movie that he is trying to pan.
Yeah.
And I've considered using just that scene when I talk government.
Really?
Yeah, because I like to find movie clips and stuff that are offbeat or just not what you would expect. Obviously you do the Dirt Farmer one from Holy Grail, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for King.
But I've thought of showing that particular scene if I ever teach government. Oh yeah. I got no problem doing that.
God knows I will.
Yeah, but just the I wonder what the fathers of Hiroshima would say. Well, nothing. They're all dead. Exactly. And violence is the only authority. And I'm just like, wow. Okay. All
political power is derived from the barrel of a gun.
Yeah. I'm like, that's fascism, baby. And so when
yeah.
So yeah, that's I really like that. And I think that's the thesis statement of his whole movie. Which apparently was not the thesis statement of the book.
No.
So, so that's what I pulled. So, what are you reading? What do you want to recommend?
What am I reading? Well, I'm working on reading Dune.
Okay.
I
Damn right.
I have in the process of working on this one. I have determined that we need to educate you on some literary science fiction.
Yes.
And a little bit of the history of the genre. And I think I figured out an angle on that that will work actually for the conceit of this podcast.
Cool.
And again, it's comparing the book to the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because the book was written in the 1960s. The film is so 80s, it fucking hurts.
Oh, so you're doing that one, not the John Hurt one?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
No, and I will mention the sci-fi miniseries.
Yeah.
But the one that sticks in the popular imagination the most is the Lynch film.
Yes, it does.
And part of what inspired me to do this was listening to us talking about TV series that should have ended differently, and John Lynch and
David Lynch,
and Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
is what made me go, Lynch did Dune, and that was a head trip.
Yep.
Okay, I think I have an idea for So
nice.
So that'll be the next phase of your literary education.
I like it.
And then in your broader genre education, I got to do something about Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Probably something having to do with the fact that Americans could never make it.
Oh, I like this.
It's
decidedly British. I like it already.
So yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, but right now I'm reading Dune in preparation to school you on it. And I will say I highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
It was visionary for a number of reasons that I don't want to spoil right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as a space opera, it now reads as pretty dated, but it is still an entertaining read.
Okay.
So how about you?
I don't have anything off the top of my head, quite honestly. As far as reading goes, so I would say this: I have started watching Supernatural.
Yeah, I saw you posted about that.
Yeah, and so it's fun.
Yeah.
It basically is a role playing game put on TV.
It's a Hunter campaign on TV.
Yeah. Like you said.
I don't know if you ever played Hunter, but it's...
No, I played Witch Hunter, which is kind of cool because it's set in the 1600s.
Nice.
So in America.
Okay.
And so yeah.
Okay. Hunter the Reckoning.
Okay.
Or Hunter the Vigil is a later edition of it is set the same universe as Vampire, Mage, Werewolf.
Nice.
So yeah. But yeah, it's a Hunter campaign on TV.
So that one's fun. I don't know if I would recommend watching it just yet, quite honestly. It's first season jitters.
Okay, yeah.
There's a little too much exposition of like every time they talk about a thing, it's like they explain it to each other and they both already know it. I'm like, okay, guys, like who would be watching this as a but I get it. Like as a casual fan, you do need that kind of exposition.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's what I will recommend.
Okay.
Start binging the Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because my God, like it is so dense and rich with it basically is taking on the twin ideas of racism and trauma in each character. And it is phenomenal.
Okay.
And the amount of white privilege that John Walker, I mean, that actor deserves all the love in the world for doing such a good job of making you sympathize and hate.
Okay.
John Walker. I mean, he's doing a great job with him.
All right.
He really is. So, and there's so much good fan service in that series.
Okay.
So yeah, I would
Very
say
cool.
Watch that.
We're still working our way through WandaVision.
Oh, fantastic.
And I mean, it's been long enough that the ending has already been spoiled for me. I know.
Sure.
I don't know all of the details, but I know broad brush, where it's going. But like, I can't wait to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife doesn't read
The comics, yeah.
nerd.
She doesn't.
Well, she
yeah.
doesn't. She doesn't read nerd stuff on the internet, so she isn't exposed to spoilers.
Oh, okay.
So she's just like, okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So that's a different living room.
Right.
Wait.
Yeah. How is she able to change reality?
Yeah.
That's literally her power.
Oh, that's not even. That's no.
Right.
She
okay.
totally. She totally got that.
Okay.
But the details of the surrealism were the things you're just like, okay, stop. So hold on. So last episode, she was pregnant.
Right.
And now this episode, okay.
Right.
And piecing, and doing the piecing together.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, yeah, that's hinky. And then we got to the point where we jump. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but then the episode where we go outside town.
Yes.
And everything, and then the meta gets really heavy.
Yes.
Because I'm rewatching the first 2 episodes from like I was watching the first 2 episodes.
Yep.
They're actually watching it on a TV.
Yep.
Yeah, like the level of
that's wild.
Of meta in that series is absolutely amazing. And it is my concerted opinion that the writers, at least so far, we're halfway through. The writers have not tripped on anything yet.
Nor will they, and they're going to knock you sideways.
It has all been very tightly
Yep.
constructed, and they did an amazing, because this is the kind of meta that if you miss something,
right, it falls apart.
It's going to be glaring, and it's all going to fall apart, and you're not going to be able to follow it anymore. You're not going to want to follow it anymore because, like, no, you just shot it in the foot. It's like a Swiss watch.
Yeah.
It's so perfectly put together. So
well, good.
No, it's amazing.
Good. I look forward to hearing your review of it when you're done with it.
Yeah,
it's gonna pay off.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, where can people find you on the social medias?
People can find me on social media at Blaylock on Twitter and as Mr. Blaylock on Instagram and TikTok. And they can find the 2 of us collectively. They can shout at both of us at once. If you think our opinions about Verhoeven are completely wrong, or you totally agree, we'd like to hear that too. You can find us at Geek History Time on the Twitter machine. And where can you be found?
Well, first off, just real quick, would like to shout out to our listeners. We are currently at over 700, close to 800. At one point, we peaked in the 950s. So whatever we did to lose those people, come back. We're done with Batman.
Please. Yeah, we swear.
Yeah.
Pretty much forever. We're not doing the cowl again.
Having talked about that, shout out to our Irish, Canadian, United Kingdom, German, and Mexican listeners. Thank you all. Tell your friends. Have a listening party like they used to do with radio edits or radio plays. But you can find me at Duh Harmony on the Twitter and on the Instagram. You can also find me every Tuesday night on twitch.tv/Capital Puns. And you can find me on Excelsior Gaming on YouTube. Hit subscribe, watch it. It's a lot of fun. Myself and a Scotsman making fun of each other over a fun little game called Marvel Strike Force.
Very cool.
And then, of course, on this particular thing, if you found us by accident, thank you. Check around. It's a buffet. If you didn't like the asparagus, you're going to love the walnuts. If you didn't like that, you're going to like the shrimp. If you didn't like that, there's soft serve. Like, there's just something for everybody. So hit subscribe, rate, review, give us that 5-star that you know that we deserve, because we put a lot of effort into this.
Because we're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, for A Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And until next time, keep rolling 20s.